Okay, so we are still doing area and circumference of circles, but today the measurements can be decimals. So it's literally no different. You're just typing in decimals into the calculator instead of whole numbers. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is we're going to do circumference first. So if you guys are talking about circumference, what is the formula? If there's actually two. So there's two different ways that you can find circumference.
R squared.
That's area.
2 pi r.
2 pi r. So if you know the radius, you just do 2 times pi times the radius, or pi times the diameter. So for circumference, we will be using 2 pi r or pi times diameter. Now, if we're doing the area, Brian, what's the formula for that?
Pi r squared.
Pi r squared. So I want you guys to know, whenever you are doing circumference of a circle, you're actually measuring this distance. So like from this distance all the way around. So that is what you're measuring. If you are finding the area, you're actually measuring the amount of area or the space that's inside the circle. So that is the difference between the two. One is the measurement going all the way around, one is the space in the middle. So we are going to look at number 1. We are doing circumference. So we are doing circumference. So on this one, do we know the radius or the diameter? All right, we know the radius. So we are going to find the circumference by taking 2 times pi times the radius. So we have 2. Now what are we going to use for pi? 3.14. Now we are going to plug in our radius of 7.4. So at this point, you guys are ready to plug it into your calculator. And I want to know the entire number.
46.7472.
All right, so 2 times 3.14 times 7.4. Say that again a little bit slower.
46.472.
Do you guys agree with that? 46.472. Now let's look at the directions. What does it say we're rounding to? How many places is that after the decimal?
1.
1. So if we look at this, 46.4, does the 7 tell us to round up to 0.5 or stay 0.4? 7 is bigger than 5, so we are going to round up. And circumference is not squared, so we just say centimeters. Area is when we square the units. Circumference, it stays the same. All right, now on this second one, we're doing the same thing. This is a whole number. Is it okay to still have whole numbers every once in a while? So are we going to do 2 pi r or pi times d? Are you sure? Isn't that the radius?
Oh, well.
So I'm going to take 2 times 3.14 times what? 11. Oh, I have no idea what just happened there. All right, so 2 times 3.14 times 11. Jonathan, what'd you get when you multiplied that? 69.08. We're rounding the nearest tenth, so does it stay 0.0 or does it round up to 0.1? 69.1. What's my label on this one? Feet. So we're going to do a little bit of both today. We're going to do circumference and we're going to do area. But do you guys have questions on those first two? Nate, are you good?
Yeah.
Kate, are you good? Greg, are you still writing?
Yes.
Okay, let me know. Reese, let me know when you're ready. so on this one, are we given the diameter or are we given the radius? Diameter. So we're still doing circumference. So are we going to use 2 pi r or pi times d since we know the diameter? Pi times d. So for pi, we're going to plug in 3.14. Now what's the measurement of that diameter? 17.2. So we're going to multiply that out. 3.14 times 17.2. Kayla, when you're done multiplying that, let me know what you get.
Point
0.008. Did everybody get that when they multiplied? All right, so now we're rounding to the nearest 10. What did you multiply, Nate? 3.14 times 17.2. I don't know what you typed in. All right, so if we take a look at this, to the nearest 10, it's 54.0. Does this 0 tell me to round up or stay the same? All right, do we still have to write the point 0? Yes, because we are rounding. If you just say 54, you're telling me you didn't have to round it. So we rounded it to the nearest 10th. That decimal, even though it's a 0, we still want to write it. And what's my label here? 8. Hey, can I have you guys try number 4 by yourself? So number 4, it gives you the measurement. You are finding the circumference. How come you don't draw any pictures? I don't know. How do you know where those numbers all came from? But what about when that goes away? See how on this one you wrote this and then show me your real answer. I actually want you to continue to do that because I always like to know if you just write this, I don't know if you type something wrong here or if you just rounded it wrong. Like, no. But just like whenever I do, like, we're going to take a quiz on this week, you actually get a point for writing this, a point for this, and a point for that. So make sure you write what you get on the calculator and then round it. But if you make a mistake, I can't give you partial credit. So
Oh, I did radius.
hey, did you guys do that? Take
No.
3 point. All right, if you didn't, all right,
I did radius.
but you did it just like that on number 3. So that's what we got to focus. So real quick, if you guys did the radius, did you do 2 pi r? 2 pi r is going to give you the same answer as pi times diameter. So don't stress out. Those are it's the same thing. I don't know why you did that. So if you guys did 3.14 times 21.4, you guys get 67.196. 67 point. So did you take 2 times?
Yeah, I did too.
Okay. So you probably have just double that. We can't multiply it by 2 if we use the diameter. Yes.
Is it area when we like take?
Half.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Because-
right.
All right. So guys, this is the thing. Whenever you are given a diameter, if it's circumference, you can just plug it right in. On area, the only formula that you have involves a radius, so that's why you have to divide it on area. You don't have to divide it on circumference. On circumference, we just take pi times diameter, and then guys, is this 67.1 or 0.2? 67.2, and my label is yards. No, so on circumference, just ask yourself, and I will have these on the board on Thursday. So if you guys have the radius, you're going to use this one. If you have the diameter, you're going to use pi times d. So you just have to look at your picture and ask yourself which one it is, and then once you decide if it's radius or diameter, then you go with that formula. No, you have one tomorrow. It'll just be in class. Tonight, your homework is to update Khan Academies, which I know a lot of you have those done, but I'm giving you guys a day to do that. All right, so are you guys ready to try some area problems?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so we are finding the area on these two. Same rounding instructions, but what's the formula for area? Pi r squared. Alright, so when we plug this in, pi is still 3.14, but what's my radius? 10.6, and we got to square that. So guys, what do we have to do first? Do we multiply or do we do exponents first? Exponents. So guys, if we want to know 10.6 squared, what do we have to type into the calculator?
10.6 times 10.6.
Yep. 10.6 times 10.6. Which if you plug that in, 10.6 times 10.6, Nate, what do you get?
112.36.
Okay, we do not round anything until our very final answer. Alright, so now we got to take that 112.36 times 3.14.
Oh.
Alright, Weston, what did you get? You said you got a really long number. I want to know all of those numbers. 8104. Alright, so that's what I was talking about, Weston. I can't give you partial credit if you do everything on the calculator and if you round correctly, that's one thing. But if you have an answer that doesn't match mine, I don't know if it's maybe you typed it in wrong, or maybe you rounded wrong. But if you don't, I won't be able to know what your struggle is if we don't get there. So on this one, do we say 352.8 or do we round up? We say. So 352.8. Now on area, we squared something, so what's my label going to be? Meters squared. So can you guys try number 6 by yourself? So you're going to take pi times your radius squared. And then whenever we're done, Ariana, I will upload the notes so that way you can copy the one you missed. Yep, you can't round until the very, very end. Guys, do you agree with my number that I have for 7.9 squared?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, yeah.
7.9 times 7.9. I got 62.41 again.
Oh, yeah, I did, yeah, okay.
Okay, then take that times 3.14. 9674. Alright, so, this was a good one to have for notes. Alright, so if we look at this, it's 195.9, but what does this 6 tell us to do?
Makes it 1.
No. The 9 would go to a 1. Okay, guys, this is like 5.9. Alright, so, it tells us to round up. The 9 has to round to a 10. So then the 95 becomes a 96, and then our label is feet squared. Hey guys, what do you guys think about that rounding? Do you have any questions on that? Because a 9 has to round up to a 10, and so then that whole number has to round up to the 5 goes up to the 6. Alright, you guys gotta tell me what you think so far. So guys, is adding decimals really that much different? No, it's just you have more numbers in your answer when you round. That's really the only difference, is your decimals get a little bit longer. So I do have a couple more I would like to try. Bear with me. I'm trying something new as far as notes because then it saves it for me, but I'm not good at zooming in and out on it yet. I'm actually taking my notes in Cami because then it saves it for the virtual kids. All right, so guys, we are still doing area, but what information do we have on these last two? Those are diameters. What do you need when you're finding area? Radius, harmony. If I need the radius, what do I have to do?
Half it.
You gotta take half of it, which means divide it by what?
Divided by 2.
Alright, so if we divide this number by 2, everyone take 4.4 divided by 2, that will give me the radius.
2.2.
2.2. So then for the radius, we can now do pi r squared. So 3.14. Now what do I plug in? 4.4 or 2.2? Yeah, why would we do all that work to not use it? 2.2 squared.
That's stupid. We just
No. Dividing by 2, if you take 2.2 times 2.2, you don't get 4.4.
I'm just kidding.
Squaring a number is not the same as times 2. So we're doing order of operations. We did our exponents first, 2.2 squared. Is everyone okay with 4.84? 2.2 times 2.2, 4.84, then times 3.14.
Oh, I can do that.
Alright, when you multiply all of that out, 3.14 times 4.84. Not 1,000, that's 15 points. 15 point what, Harmony? Give me all those decimals.
15.1976.
Alright, so let's look. Is it 15.1 or do we round up?
It's 15.2.
It is 15.2, and what's your label?
Hands. Nate.
Alright, I think we need to do another one of these together.
Oh, hi.
I got it.
Well, try it on your own, but if you need to follow me, follow me. Hey, if we know the diameter, how do we get the radius? You got to divide it by 2. What is half of 16.8?
8.4.
are ready to plug in what we know.
Who?
How did I get from 1, 2, 3, 6, 7?
So we did 1 and 2, you tried 3 and 4, then we did 5, you did 6, now we're doing 7 and 8 together. So we took half of 16.8 to get 8.4. And now we just gotta plug that into the calculator. So 8.4 squared should be your first thing. 8.4 times 8.4. Emma, what'd you get for that? Hang on a second. You're gonna do 8.4 squared first. Remember, we gotta do exponents first. So 8.4 times 8.4. Alright, Emma got 70.56. Do you guys agree with that?
No.
Yeah.
No, mine's not that.
Alright, so Brian, did you do 8.4
Oh, yeah, yes.
times 8.4?
My bad, I was looking at the wrong problem.
Okay.
We're good. Sorry.
Alright, 8.4 times 8.4 is 70.56. Now we're going to take 70.56 times 3.14. Jonathan, what do we get before we round? 221.55. I got this. 221. Hey guys, you're getting too chatty. Alright, so do you guys have any questions on 8.4 squared being 70.56? Are you guys okay with this multiplication? Taking 70.56 times 3.14.
I always do that. I always forget to multiply.
Alright, so then for your last step,
No.
does it stay 0.5 or does this tell us to round up?
Round up to 6.
2, 2, 1.6 centimeters squared. Very good.
Yeah, bro.
Not yet.
Alright, so we are going to obviously do some more practice. You guys do not have homework tonight, but I'm going to have you guys try some more of these on your own. Virtual kids, if you have any questions, please email me.